Okay, so this call is pretty much self-explanatory. I'm going to go over to a little bit of TikTok as well as Instagram. But when I asked my team like what kinds of things they wanted to see on calls from me, sorry, I'm just adjusting my ankle. If you don't know, if you know, you know. They wanted to see a lot more on how I do content planning and content batching. So I do a mixture, you guys, of trying to align with my niche and also trends. So it is important to be able to identify trends like trending sounds, or like the big obvious one that we recently had was the one where everyone does that like boyfriend or husband text. So you can look out for things like that. The biggest thing when it comes to trends, you guys, is something will be trending for like over a week, right? But if you're on the later end of that week, the chances of you being going viral, for instance, or getting more views than usual, you're on the later half of a trend, that is a lot less likely to happen. So the biggest thing, and I guess the hardest thing about this is a trend will come up and it might not be your content day. Don't stress about getting on every single trend. Okay. You're going to kill yourself doing that. You're going to find yourself making reels 5 out of 7 days of the week. That's just not sustainable for my lifestyle and my busy lifestyle, my kids, all of that. I pretty much not dedicate, but I only will make content 2 days a week. That is to stay on top of trends as much as possible, but also like I'm not the type of person that can film and create content for 6 hours in one day. That's just, I don't have that energy. Creating content takes a lot of energy out of me. But this is supposed to give you guys tips and tricks on how to streamline this process, how to make it fit into your schedule and also into your business and your niche, and then also how to get quality content out of it. So the first and biggest thing I think is to follow your niche. Okay. I think, at least when I started this business, Instagram was a lot different. And I was trained, you need to have as many different, we called brand pillars, right? To appeal to a lot of people. Well, unfortunately, and I've done a lot of research lately on the algorithm and on Instagram and what they're changing to. Unfortunately, it's detrimental to have 5 things that you talk about equally than it is to have 1 or 2 things that you talk about all the time. And I know that seems scary, but what Instagram has transitioned to in the past couple years is it's kind of like that notion you can't please everyone, right? If you are trying to cater and appeal to all types of people on Instagram quite literally with its new algorithm does not know who to show your content to. Okay. Instagram has transitioned to saying labeling people basically on what their content is. So if you find these people that based on what you're interested in, Instagram will show them to you, right? So I guarantee a lot of you are getting like people that talk all about increasing engagement, people that talk about how to create good content and reels. Like that's a lot of what I get. I also get a lot of like let's see. Actually, I've gotten a lot of exercise stuff, like low impact exercise stuff, because I broke my ankle. So I'm not kidding. So like, this is what I mean. Instagram will send you people they think that you want to see. So if you're someone that's all over the place, and yes, you might have been trained differently 2 years ago. That's because Instagram was different. If you're someone posting 5 different niches, right? Like say you do makeup tutorials / beauty, you do fashion or try on hauls, you do mom tips and tricks, you do fitness and cooking, and you also do business, right? I'm not saying to never talk about any of those things, but if you're trying to make 5 reels a week and each one is about one of those things, Instagram's going to be so confused and have no idea where to send you. Okay. So I really, and I've been researching this. I've been looking into things. I even bought a couple guides because like I'm always trying to learn. And really the biggest thing is honing in on 1 to 2 things. Monat should not be the one thing you hone in on. Now, I'm not saying never post about Monat, but what I've found for me is I'm going to be geared towards the bougie, extra dramatic mom. That's who I am. I don't know why I overthink it. That's what I need to stick to, right? My hilarious relationship, me being a full drag, like all of that type of stuff. Like that's what I'm going to focus on and find what kind of content people respond to within that niche, right? And yes, I still talk about money because that's part of my bouginess. That's how it plays into it. And even if your niche is like exercise, working out, if your niche is just straight up being a stay-at-home mom, it doesn't matter what that really big thing you want to focus on is, you can always find a way to fit money into it, right? So play to your niche. That's the biggest thing. When you're looking for reels and looking for TikTok sounds and all of that, think about how can I make this sound or this trend appeal to my niche, appeal to what I want to tell Instagram that I'm about now. And I want to warn you guys, for a couple, maybe even a month of you really honing in on this niche or these maybe two things that you want are about you and your brand, it's going to take Instagram a while to recognize. You might not automatically get a ton of views. Your views might even go down initially, but Instagram needs to figure out who you are, what you're about. And if you've for years been telling them like, I don't know, I have ADHD of a personality, and so does my Instagram, then it's going to take Instagram a while to notice that. But that's the biggest thing first and foremost. So the next tangible, you're going to write down. So I save sounds, and I also say my biggest tip, guys, too, is to save the actual video or reel or TikTok that you got the sound from. Okay. What this does is if you really loved that idea, you have that in your folders, and you can always, save them to specific folders. Like for example, I have different folders on mine, as we all should. So here's a few, like I have, can you guys see this? Probably not. So like I have May potentials, I have social media, random buys, clothes, nails, food, real ideas, home furnish, house inspo, makeup, hair, healthy food, travel, money examples. Oh, like I even have one that I love people's posts that's in money, and I want to take inspo from that. So I save them to look back at. So I save different reels to different, I'll save it to real ideas. But you can also save different things to different folders. About 2 days a week, I'll sit down and look what I've saved in the last 3 to 4 days, right? And maybe I only do it 1 day a week. So I'll look at what I've saved in the last 7 days. What I'll do is I'll go back to the sounds that I saved. And I'll also, the biggest thing is to look at the videos in which you found those sounds. Look at the videos that you saved, because when you do that, you can go to the actual sound page or the video page. And I'm going to show you guys. So like, what is this sound? Okay. So I found this one, and if you click on the actual sound from your saved sounds. Y'all still letting people that don't pay y'all bills upset y'all? Oh, okay. So we'll pause that, but you can scroll down and see every video anyone's ever done on it, right? The big thing you're going to want to watch too is the views, right? So the chances of this being oversaturated and all of that go up the more real views that this has, because you have to think too, this is not the only place you're going to find this sound. This is just one of the sounds of the creator that I found. Someone's going to copy this sound and make it their own. You know what I'm saying? So if you're really chasing going viral or going on reel and TikTok trends that aren't saturated yet, then you're going to want to keep this number under 5,000. That's not always important, you guys. If something really fits into your niche and you're really honing in on that niche, and you have been, use the sound. You don't have to use a trending sound for every single piece of content you put up. Don't get hung up on that. It's a good thing to look for if you can, but it's not important, right? So you can always look at the sounds that you liked and see ideas and say like, oh, like her idea, but if I changed it this little bit, this would be perfect for my niche, perfect for my business. And so then I write down like, okay, this sound, so it's easy to find when you want to go back to it. This sound, write down the jot of idea of what you're going to do for it. And then plan out anywhere from 3 to 5 reels that you're going to sit down and make in one day. I like to go more for 5 because again, I really, even 2 days of content creation for me, like video content creation is a lot. So I try to bust out 5 every time I do it. So like I said, write down, plan the audio, plan the idea of the actual video, the text, all of that. And then the other thing that people forget about is hashtags. So hashtags can be a great way for you to promote your business on social media to get seen, as well as being on trending sounds and all of that. But you want to just look up to, there's a lot of ways to look up different hashtags that suit you. A good rule of thumb is to not use the same hashtags over and over on every single post, right? But you do want to make sure that you're switching them up while still maintaining your niche, while still maintaining hashtags you already follow and engage on. So if you're already following, let's say discover under 10K, that's a one that's been around for years, or discover under 5K. That's micro influencer niche building, right? You see a lot of influencers, 2,000-3,000 followers that have a like to know it, that are trying to grow their platform using that type of hashtag. So if you're already following that, and when you go search hashtags and you're looking for potentials, my biggest advice is to actually look under hashtags that are relevant to you and follow those hashtags, because you can follow them on Instagram. So that way, when you post, Instagram's already seeing that you're engaging with the hashtags you're using. What that's going to do is it's telling Instagram what you're about, but it's also sending all of those people within that hashtag even more towards your content. It's guys, I've done so much research in the last month laying on my ass in bed on the algorithm, because it was kicking my ass for a while and I didn't understand. So I was like, how about I just start to understand? Okay. So really, you don't just use hashtags that relate to your video. You need to be using hashtags that relate to your brand, to what you constantly put out there and that you constantly interact with. So maybe this is the time to even switch up how you're finding potentials. Maybe you just go straight to hashtags and follow the same 10 over and over and really hone in on those hashtags if you're finding success there, and keep interchanging 4 to 6 hashtags on every post. So pre-plan your hashtags as well. That way it's streamlined when you post. Save them as drafts. So I like, depending on the video, I like to make my content in Instagram and then save as a draft. My biggest advice though, save the actual draft to your camera roll. It will save without sound, but that's okay. Your sound's going to be there. You're also writing down the sound of like where the profile was that you got that sound from. This is why I tell you guys to write down the sound, write down the idea, because you know Instagram will glitch. You know that it's happened to you before. So yes, use the drafts on Instagram. Try to create your video via Instagram to line up with your sound as best as possible, but also save it to your camera roll before you post. It's just a triple check. It's like the 2-factor authentication. You want to do this every time, because nothing's more frustrating than your time being wasted over something you can't control. And trust me, it's happened to me multiple times. Same thing. If you're pre-writing your captions, I can't tell you how many times this has happened to me, and I've cried once. Or I've done this long caption. I go to change the profile pic and move it, and I go back and somehow the caption's gone. Save the captions to your notes. And when you post it and it's gone, or when it's done, just go delete it all. It's okay. But please 2-factor authenticate your own stuff. There's going to come a day where you will just want to kiss yourself for it. Okay. And so when it comes to the content planning day, you need to pre-plan the day too. Okay. These are all tips and tricks, you guys, if you want to get the most out of the littlest time and you want to streamline if you're doing 1 to 2 days a week of it. Because if you know me, I maybe put makeup on twice a month. Maybe. And now it's going to be 4 times a month, because I need to start presenting myself in the way that I want my niche to come across. So my content needs to look like that, right? But you need to plan your day. What content is going to take the most time? That's what you want to start with. Okay. Chances are it's going to be some of your best content if it's going to take you longer. That might be transitions. That might be like before and after transitions. It might be learning a long script that you want to voice over, right? You always want to start with the things that take you the longest to the least. That's just for self-preservation as human beings, because if you do 3 that don't take you that long and you get 3 done in an hour, you'll be like, yeah, that's good. I'll do the long one like a different day, you know, which comes into play with discipline. And should you be doing that, even if you start with the shortest to the longest? No. But are we human beings? Yes. So set yourself up for success and start with the ones that take the longest, and down to the least. Definitely play with transitions. This is another thing about the algorithm, you guys. Transitions are highly favored, no matter what the content is, no matter the sound. If you're doing a dope transition, especially with something that's a more trending sound or an idea, the chances of it's not even necessarily going viral, but getting 2,000 more views than you're used to are much higher. Same on TikTok, same on, I mean, all platforms. They want you to be using their effects, their transitions. I mean, Instagram really wants to kick TikTok off the map, and they highly favor things that mimic TikTok. Okay. So plan top to bottom and then plan your transitions. And then the biggest thing about getting the most out of a single day, but making it look like 5 different pieces of content. And I know I've said this before, before Reels and TikTok was really a thing of doing like photos, the same applies. So say you're doing transitions, you obviously would know, like if you're doing a before and after transition, like the before comes before, and then you being ready or whatever it might be comes after. That's self-explanatory. However, say you do those and now you're ready and you still have 3 more videos you want to film. The rule of thumb is change hair, makeup, and by makeup, I mean like a different lip or like earrings, like accessories like that, and then change the scenery. So you can make an entire look completely different by doing hair down, then half up, half down, then a high pony in sequential order, and then a nude lip, and then a gloss lip, and then a bright lip, and changing your earrings simultaneously, and then changing from a blank wall to your backyard to sitting in your car, because those are also popular, right? You can make everything look like it was completely separate and completely intentional, all by just moving around different parts of your house and switching up what hairstyle you're using and what lip color you have. So, because you don't want all of your content to look like you made it in one day and nothing changed. You don't want the same background on everything, unless it's like a very like plain white background. You want to keep it feeling authentic and natural as well. That's my take, and some people feel differently, but that's how I view it. And it's very simple to do that when you're doing it all in one day. I'm just going to finish it with, because I was 20 minutes, yay. I'm going to finish it with what I started to say in the beginning. Like the biggest things is honing in on a big overarching niche. And I know that's different than what we've talked about, but really sit down and figure out, lay out everything about you, and then pick out the 3 things that you enjoy the most, and figure out how within those things do you make a niche that is not relatable to everyone. It is okay to not be super attractive on social media to every single human being, because that's not how the algorithm works anymore. And that's not how you're going to grow, unfortunately. And then don't overthink it. It doesn't have to be a trending sound every single time. It doesn't have to be a trending idea every single time. And it doesn't have to be an elaborate plan. It can be a short, sweet, little 7-second reel that goes viral and you don't know. So don't overthink it. These are tools to set you up for success and to keep you from spending 8 hours to make 3 reels. But again, really hone in on your niche, figure out what that is, stay true to yourself. And those are going to be the biggest things, and consistency. Post 5 reels a week. You guys, that is the biggest way for Instagram to like you. And the best way to start growing quickly. Does anyone have questions on any of that? I'll stop recording. Thank you if you have